and we are good to go. All right, so good morning, afternoon, or evening. Wherever you are, welcome. I am your humbled host, Tony Serrano, and this is the PhD in Me. So good morning. You are here at 8 a.m. on a Sunday, which means you are ready. You are here. You are looking for something that is just going to take you to the next level of life. So you showed up. You're here and you showed up. Good morning. Welcome. So you are here, like I said, on an 8 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So, props to you. And I'm so glad that we can all be together right now because, How to Heal series, it's ambitious, like I said last week. And this isn't like for people who dabble, right? These are for people who want the results in their life, who are tired, who are sick and tired, who are fed up of whatever's happened in their life. And they know there's something better. That's the biggest thing. They know there's something better. Even if they can't put a name to it, even if they can't see exactly how to get there, they just have this feeling within them, and that's your gut. So props to you. I have full admiration because I know this is not something that's easy, and I want to make it as easy as it can be. I want to make this as fun as it could be because healing is fun. I mentioned last week that healing is just getting to know yourself. It's like spending time with you. Who am I? And the biggest thing to kind of check, are you hanging out with yourself, is when you close your eyes and when you meditate, when you go within, whose voice do you hear in your mind? Are you hearing voices of your parents? Like, what are you doing, Tony? Like asking yourself. Are you hearing things about your partner? Why do you act like that all the time? Why do you dress like that? Do you hear things or judgments from coworkers or strangers in your life? Just comments. Like, what do you hear? Whose voice is it? And if it's not your voice, that's a big indicator like, hey, okay, this is my life. This is my body. This is all about me. So if more than 90% of the time I'm not listening to my own voice, then, whose life am I living? And who am I living my life for? And now there's always a balance. Life's all about balance and all about duality, all about extreme. I had a good conversation with someone in my DM, basically saying that, this whole community is just love and light, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, I'm not saying that there's not evil that exists on this world. I'm not saying that there's not hate that exists on this world. There is. That's what the duality of earth is. There's not light without dark. And at the same token, if you're only hearing your voice, that's why I leave it for that 10%. 90% should be your voice that you hear in your head. But that 10% is that consideration. It's that open-mindedness. It's that perspective. And that is where if you are only hearing your voice, then how can you connect with anyone? If you're not considering a new perspective and you're staying stuck in your own ways, who are you shutting out in your life because you don't want to change? There's, like I said in the last week I said there's so much love, there is so much light trying to come into your life, there's so much opportunity. And sometimes if we're just stuck in our head, if we're sitting at home, if we're not doing anything and we're just complaining and hating and festering, just building all this anxiety, are we going to be able to do anything about it if we're stuck in our head? No. So there's this nice balance, and that's why I just am a proponent of balanced living. I'm not saying that you can't, have reckless behavior nights. It's just within this certain containment. It could be a controlled reckless behavior. And so I'm not saying that you can't do certain things. Like today I'm going to talk about appearance. I'm not saying you can't wear makeup. I'm not saying you can't dye your hair. It's all about to each their own, right? But then who's wearing the makeup? Is the makeup wearing you? where if you didn't have it, would you feel yourself without it? And that's just a big trauma that I've had to overcome in the last 2 years and that I've fully healed through. And so I want to talk about those traumas because look, who am I to stand here and say that I haven't had trauma and you should heal? No, like I'm here to say I have trauma, I messed up, I made mistakes, I'm not perfect, I'm still working, I still have trauma, and yet I'm right here because look, I've healed a few things, big things in my life, and I know that I feel so much better without it because I've let it go. Who wants to carry a 200-pound backpack their whole life? Their entire life? Showering, going to the bathroom, nobody does. It doesn't feel good. But look, we don't have those resources. And I'll just get into it. So the first topic of today is, what is transgenerational trauma? Big word, right? I like to say inherited trauma. So what are some things that could be inherited? What does it mean to be inherited? So there are some things in cultures, religions, society, that these are ideas that we pass down subconsciously. This could be happen even through social media, which is like in our time, VHS, movies and things like that, and radio, a lot of radio. So these are just ideas and values. That's why it could be religious too, that have been passed down, and they're passed down unknowingly. It's very subconscious, very subtle. And now we're starting to become aware of it because more people are talking about the impact of this inherited trauma. Right now, we have so many resources where you can Google what is transgenerational trauma? What is inherited trauma? And that's when the parents usually, or just whoever is the, let's see, how do you say it? Like, not the mentor, but the person in the child's life that they spend the most time watching. So it could be a teacher, it could be a pastor or a preacher or a priest. It could be a coach, in sports. It can be your parent. It could be whoever just watches you, because I went to daycare. So it's like whoever's watching you. So if they have trauma, they can subconsciously pass it on to you on their beliefs. And now we call them limiting beliefs, right? They have a name for it. And so by passing that on, today I want to talk about appearance. How could appearance be an inherited trauma? So starting young, I'm trying to think about the first big time. So I've always been a tomboy. I've always chosen jeans and sneakers and a t-shirt over a dress. I hated dresses as a little girl. It would make me really itchy. Like, I've always had really sensitive skin. I talked about having crazy eczema when I was young. So I've always been a tomboy. Now I'm trying to think, the first time is probably just having to wear dresses as a kid. That's something that you could pass down because it's all about like the girl must wear this, must look like this. And even if it makes me uncomfortable, even if that's not truly who I am. And so that traumatizes a kid because you don't understand that, why does that even matter? And it's all about for the perceptions of society, the perceptions of your religion, it's the values. And so when you impose something on somebody without them understanding the reason why, what it could be even called, and that yes, it does affect you, and yes, it matters. It matters. So then fast forward now, I want to say the first time I really experienced societal trauma is, and I wouldn't say it's trauma, I would say it's societal pressure. I'll build up to trauma because it does have tiers. So that's funny, tiers like stacking and tiers like crying. So that's funny, play on words. So I would say it was about fifth grade. So I remember vividly being at school in the playground on the grass side. And we were all sitting in a circle. There was probably 6 of us. I want to say that there was actually more girls than guys. There's probably like 4 girls and 2 guys. Seriously, I remember vividly my childhood. So we were sitting in a circle. It was a hotter day. We were wearing shorts, and the girls looked at each other, went around and said, "Oh my gosh, you have hair on your legs." And then another girl showed a cut of her shaving her legs for the first time. She had this massive, like right on her ankle bone. This ankle bone's really hard to shave when you're first learning. Even now, my mom cuts her ankle bone sometimes. Anyways, she showed it to us, and so we had this whole conversation about shaving. And we're in 5th grade, so we're about maybe, I want to say like 10 or 11 years old. Okay, and obviously it's way younger now that girls are shaving their legs, but we grew up, all this to say is that we grew up as girls seeing poster and billboards of like smooth shaved legs. We grew up seeing that Nair commercial where you don't have to use a razor, you could just put on this lotion and then it just wash it off, and that tingles and it's crazy. So I remember vividly though going home that night and saying to my mom, I think it's time I want to shave my legs. And so that is the first time where in the preteen world that you really become self-conscious. Yes, I was already self-conscious about like my looks, but I was a tomboy still, so, and I wasn't into boys yet, so it wasn't like, I didn't really care what my mom said about me dressing. I would just put on the dress for Sunday. But for legs, and now we're getting into that transitionary period, it's like, okay, now they are teaching you, women, to be self-conscious of their body and how we present ourselves. How do we present ourselves as women? And what is socially acceptable? What is right? Is it right or wrong to have hairy legs? To have a child asking that? Did you know that your frontal lobe does not even fully develop until 25 years old? Give or take a year or two, but 25 years old. So as a 10-year-old girl trying to figure out what's right and wrong, this all, like, I know there's a few guys on here, but this all has to do with any trauma, because it's all about, let me break it to a more male perspective, is that you're not supposed to cry. That's feminine. You're not supposed to have emotions and break down. You're supposed to pull yourself together and just figure it out and be a man. Yeah, like what age were you told, be a man? Or what age were you kind of pressured? It could be indirect pressure just by watching a movie. There's so much trauma that is passed down through movies because it's unhealed. If you've ever seen something that is so biased, when you're now an adult looking at it to a child and you're going, that's super biased, the life and world is not like how you're projecting it. But as a kid, are you gonna know? Are you gonna know that this person, whoever wrote this script, has a ton of trauma that is just not reality? And they're not gonna give the kids tools to how to figure it out. They're just gonna say, poor me, be a victim, just the world, it's not your fault. And so the only thing that's not your fault is if you weren't given the resources and the mentorship and the guidance to say, that's bias. That's not true. You don't have to follow that. You decide what's right, what's wrong. You don't have to shave your legs if you don't want to. Someone's gonna love you regardless. And it's hard. Look, it's hard. I'm not saying it's not hard. Right now, because of social media, it's hard to even come on here and to talk with you with like no makeup on. It was hilarious because all this appearance story, I was gonna come on with like my hair done, I was gonna blow dry it straight, and then I was gonna put makeup on and talk about like how people take me more seriously or pay attention to me if I'm fully caked up, fully just looking good, right? And then, first of all, there's just no time for that as a mom. There is, but man, you just gotta wake up early. I was already up at 6, so just there. But, it's just wild how I don't care anymore. And look, it's not easy to get here because I want to tell you that I had the resources, I had the support. It really starts with support first and foremost, is the person closest to you. If they're going to love you if you have hairy armpits. No, for real. If they're going to love you if you have a few pimples, if you have a little bit of redness, if you have some wrinkles, are they going to love you? And I didn't learn this until after college. But I'm tired of having friends and they're just friends because of what you look like. I'm tired of that. Look, I had so many friends that I could have had in high school, really great relationships, but I just didn't follow it or pursue it because I was trying to impress the wrong crowd. I admit it. I admit it. I was trying to impress the wrong crowd. I was trying to hang out with the people who cared about what I look like. You know, instead of like the content of my character. And now I'm so spoiled with relationships. I love genuine relationships, and I'm not gonna basically, you know, pursue anything that's not gonna be a genuine relationships. Wrinkles and stretch marks. Yes, stretch marks too. Stretch marks too, because women, yeah, exactly. You go through birthing, you bring a baby into this world. Of course, like, yeah, if someone's not gonna love you, like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a whole episode. I'll just do a whole episode on that. But so all this to say, so appearance and how it can be inherited trauma. Now you get into a little bit older. And back when I was in 5th grade, it was all about that haircut scene. It's like this emo gothic where you like, your hair's straight, you have these jagged bangs and a bunch of layers. Long story short, that's another moment. And I know that shaving is kind of like a rite of passage. I think it's such an interesting topic. I could just do a whole thing on like, what is the rite of passage for as a woman, and even as a man, right? And you know, because like for Angel, it's like the rite of passage as a man is the moment that you have to step up for your mom in a situation like out in the world. Like if a person is rude to your mom, the moment you have to go like console your mom or tell that guy to F off, or woman, whatever, who is ever disrespecting, like that's a rite of passage for a man. But all this to say, so appearance, you get shaving your legs, then you get to your hair that like, you have to have straight hair here in the United States. I mean, maybe that's because people naturally have straight hair, I don't know, but I have a Hispanic and Filipino background, so my hair's curly. There's nothing I can do to make it straight. I've tried. I've straightened my hair for years. I've dyed my hair for years. There's just nothing I can do. It has this weird wave to it. You know, as it dries, it gets a little bit different, changes a little bit, but for the most part, it's curly, wavy, whatever. Okay, so I had this societal pressure to straighten my hair, to make it look a certain way. And that's traumatizing to a girl because you're thinking, I won't be loved if I don't look like this. I will not be accepted if I don't look like this. I won't be respected if I don't look like this. That's complete bullshit. That's complete societal trauma, transgenerational trauma, inherited trauma, whatever you want to call it. The fact that you feel like you have to do something to get something, that's not unconditional love. Unconditional love has no conditions, no restraints, no control. How you are is exactly how I love you. That's love. Church, you're preaching love, but then you're having your baby girl dress in a dress. And that's more Catholicism. I'm just gonna say it. That's fine. It's more Catholicism. You gotta dress a certain way. Christianity, I've been to Christian churches now. They're way more open. Guys are wearing t-shirts, girls are wearing t-shirts, jeans, whatever. That's awesome, because that's what true love is here. I spread love, I spread light, because true love, true light, that's unconditional. It's exactly where you are right at this moment. And then it's just like, do you want to go somewhere else? Do you want to be something else? Do you want to grow? Do you want to let go? Do you want to expand? What do you want to do? And then just help you get there. That's what these conversations should be about. How can I help you? How can I support you? How can I just be a shoulder for you to cry on and say, it's okay. I'm gonna love you just the way you are. You have a few things you need to work on? Okay, are you working on it? Cool. I'm not gonna take it personally. That's a big thing. To not have a friend and then lose that friend because you started changing up. It's hard to take it personally, but then you gotta learn that it's not personal, it's not about you. You know, I'm sure you've seen these little quotes on Instagram or Reddit or wherever you go for social media, where they talk about, you know, from all the way to your 40s, you think people are thinking about you. And then it says you realize when you're 40, no one's thinking about you as far as like worried about what you think or how you perceive them. Everyone thinks you're looking at you, but then they're realizing when you get older that everyone's worried about themselves. And so if they're just going to be worried about themselves and be so really hypnotized by this societal trauma and expectations, then that's their plate. That's not your plate. You don't have to eat off that plate. Now, I don't have to shame people. Look, I'm not shaming. However you want to live it, because you have to go through that experience. I'm not here to say, don't do this, don't do that. This will lead to this will lead to that. Go through it. I'm going to be doing a relationship book coming soon with Angel, and the first thing I'm going to say in that book is there are no rules when it comes to relationships. Break all of the rules. Why? So then you know, how are you going to be as a couple to go through it? Because if everything is perfect and you know you're honest and you're loyal and you're truthful and you're open and all these things right up front, right out the gate, first of all, I don't know where that exists, but everyone holds some stuff back. Honeymoon phase, they're going to show you the best you, the bombest you, the fittest you. They're going to show you the funniest you. They're not going to show you the saddest you. Hold on, yeah. I worry about how I see myself more than what I want people to think of me. Right. Yeah, okay. So that's awesome. Yeah, for sure. I'm just connecting with a few comments here. So that's awesome. That's beautiful that you can confirm that, you know, it's more about how you see yourself more than what people think of you when you are at that age. And so all this to say, so for the relationships, like if everything's perfect, then when you go through hell, because you will. I'm not saying that there's not seasons in life. Life is hard, you know? This is kind of like the hardest place to come as a spiritual being is earth, because we have so much temptation, so much duality, so much power, because we have free will on earth. In other stages and areas of life, you don't have free will. So we have free will here, and that's probably the hardest thing, because you have to tame yourself and you have to do it subconsciously. And you know what sucks? The worst, it's not when you let somebody else down, but when you let yourself down, when you look at yourself and you go, oh, shouldn't have said that. That looked ugly. I shouldn't have done that. Oh, I messed up. Why did I do that? And you beat yourself up. That's the hardest thing. When we let ourselves down, and I don't want to let you down, but it's these resources. The fact of you not knowing this, just as there could be inherited trauma, there could be inherited wisdom. There could be inherited wisdom. How beautiful is that? If one person, if you right now in your family take the time to heal all the wounds, because a lot of the wounds that I started with, that I came to earth just right out the womb, is all that appearance stuff that my mom suffered when she was young. You know, first generation American coming from Mexico and then living in a white community. And I'm not talking about race to say it here, but there is a difference. To say that you come from Hispanic, Spanish speaking, and come to America and say that there's not white privilege, no, that's bullshit. So I'm just saying, like, you just don't get it. And it's okay, because look, people will shame you because you don't get it. I know I'm getting into a few topics here. People will shame you. You don't see white privilege, piece of like all this stuff. Look, I'm not going to do that. Look, let's have an open conversation, because I guarantee I'm going to change your mind. I'm going to give you some information. I'm not going to call you any names. I'm not going to unfollow you. I'm not going to feel weird around you. You know, why? Why is that? That's something about trauma. If you have dealt with the trauma that you inherited, then when you're around someone who hasn't, you're not triggered or offended. You don't take it personally and have to push them away physically. That doesn't happen. Because look, I've been exactly where you are. I can stand with you. I can look you in your eyes. I know how you feel, because I've felt it. It's in my body too. Let's talk. Let's be open. I do want to hear your perspective. Maybe you'll change my mind. And that's the difference when I come into a conversation with someone who's one way or the other. I'm fully open-minded, fully just quizás consideration. So all that to say, again, inherited trauma, relationships, you got to go through it, because, if you don't, you're not going to see that ugly side of that person. And so you're not going to see the ugly side of yourself. I condemn myself for my reckless behavior. I'm not proud of it, but I made a mistake. I admit it, okay? Do I do it again? No, I don't. Do I understand why it happens? Yes. And that's why I'm here. The reason why it doesn't happen, and it does happen to young women, to young men, to this whole generation, is we don't have mentorship. Free education mentorship. That there are biased people in the world. That there are people who are manipulating you to buy certain things. There's two types of people that help you on social media. There's people who think they're helping you, but they're taking money for it. So don't they have a little bit of a bias? They say, here, I want to help you. I've been exactly where you are. I know all these things. Here, buy my thing. So do you really want to help me? Because true good deeds, true helping, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to share it to you. I'm not going to hide it and make you pay for it. Yes, I get it. There's like this idea, this weird idea, and it's trauma. There's trauma in there, that if you don't pay for it, you don't value it. I think that's bullshit. So there's like this mentality, in the less fortunate, that actually it's opposite. If you look in the underserved communities, if it's not free, it's not worth it. It's not valuable. Isn't that weird? If you go middle class and above, it goes, if you don't pay for it, you don't value it. That's another topic to get into, because I can go on a whole thing about just that separation of ideas and of value. So I'm here, there's two people that try to help you here. One, they're going to say they're going to help you, but then they're going to ask you for some money. There's some bias there. Two, second person is going to help you regardless if you listen, regardless if you care, regardless if you do any of these tools, regardless if you heal. Look, I'm going to love you unconditionally. I'm going to love you regardless. I'm going to see you going out there hurting yourself. I'm going to send you love. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to continue to figure out how I'm going to help you. I'm relentless. I see that hope. I see that potential. I know how happy you'll be because I know how happy I am. And so the only thing is I got to convince you. And so I'm not trying to come in here to manipulate you to, get rich or something. No, I'm giving it to you for free because I'm here to help, because I know I can help, because I've been through it and I know it feels like shit. It feels like shit. And back to this makeup thing. When I started to take off makeup, I look like shit. I did. Why? Because when you wear makeup for so long, all that mica powder that's in it, that, I can just kind of go through another rabbit hole on all that stuff, but it actually makes your skin dull, makes you look like a ghost. Women out there, how many people have ever told you if you wear no makeup and they go, are you okay? Are you sick? You look a little sick today. And I'm like, no, I'm not wearing foundation. I'm fine. You look a little blue, a little just ghostly, right? And so I know it sucks. I know it sucks because I've detoxed myself from wearing foundation. And I'm happy. I have a little bit of rosy cheeks, okay? I got some wrinkles coming. They're coming. Whether I do something or not, they're gonna come. So I'm gonna enjoy my body how it is right now. I'm gonna love myself how I am right now. I'm gonna say, instead of saying, all of these things that I'm gonna shame myself for in the future, I'm going, man, I look good today, Tony. Look at that glow, Tony. I'm hyping myself up. I'm loving on myself. And it's not easy because you have to go through that detox. Now, it's all about I mentioned earlier, very, very early, about is the makeup wearing you or are you wearing the makeup? Meaning that if I took it off today, could I present myself to you? Could I come up here, be confident, be loving, feel like I have value, feel like I could be respected, feel like I could be heard? And the answer is yes, but it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that before. I felt like I had to lose weight just to even start this PhD in Me podcast. Why did I start it as an audio? Because I was overweight. I was 40, 50 pounds overweight. And I didn't want to come on and see people go, dang, Tony was so fit when she was in high school. And now she's, that baby weight really got to her. I didn't want to hear any of that. So then instead of saying, no, I won't do this, I said, do an audio, just as effective, and then go run. Go get into shape. Go reach where you want to be so that you can be and do what you're here to do. We're here for a reason on this earth, right? And so instead of saying these are the reasons why I can't do this, start with what you can do. Start with what you can do today, right now, one step, one day at a time. And then work on what you want to improve on, where you want to be. So I ran my ass up the hill. I took my bike out. I stopped eating fast food. I drank more water. And then coming in behind, then you realize that you have to literally heal yourself from within. If you detox from makeup, then you have these blemishes, right? And it all starts with, what are you putting into your body? If you have half an avocado a day, your hair, your nails, your skin, your lips, just your whole body in general is going to produce better oils, which helps bring out that glow, that youthful look. Yeah. So if you heal yourself within, how ironic as it is, if you want to use makeup, and we're using makeup for those of you who just joined, we're using makeup as basically a concept to express as an example for what is transgenerational trauma, what is inherited trauma, and it's basically just when you as a parent or society, a coach, a teacher, whatever, puts an idea in your head and you don't know as a child how to understand it. For men, it's like you have to be a man, you can't show your emotions. For women, it's like makeup, that you have to look a certain way. And so it's really pretty ironic how that in the workplace, that it's traditionally okay for a man to roll into the office with no makeup. But if a woman rolls in with some jeans, a hoodie, no makeup on, hair in a bun, they're gonna say, are you sick? You need to go home. You can't do that. Workplace attire. And let me know why the face has to even do with that. What does it have to do with what work I can contribute to this company? And does that have to do with my value? Has nothing to do. So that's some trauma. So we're getting into that right now for those of you who just joined, and talking a little bit about the appearance and how that if you want to heal yourself with your skin and you want to go makeup free, you could totally do that. There's going to be this process, this detox process. It's for hair, it's called a transitioning process after using chemicals and dyes and all these things. And so what really started that? I want to get into why it started, because I could talk about how it's great now, but how did I even get there? Because it's scary. It's scary to say, if I wear my normal hair, will people want to hang out with me? Will they think I'm weird? Will they think that I'm not pretty? Will they think that I'm not their type of friend? Will they judge me for it? And so how did this all kind of happen, where I realized that I'm going to live and I'm going to be happy regardless of what I look like? When did I start to realize that? Well, it started high school, bullying, stuff like that. And then I came to school freshman, sophomore, and a little bit of junior year, just dressed to the nine, really. I got dressed up more girly. I wore makeup. I did my hair. I cared. I woke up like 2 hours early to get ready for school. And then junior year came, and I was going through a big relationship patch at that time. Angel moved schools to a completely different school, and then we were going through some rough times. And basically that was probably a big part of moment of depression as a teenager. A little different than when you're younger. So I just stopped doing my hair, stopped doing my makeup completely, wore whatever I wanted. I just wore, luckily there was this bum it era where you could wear slides, sweats and a sweatshirt, and it's kind of socially acceptable. But it wasn't like to be cute. It was like, cause I literally was crying all night long, having so much anxiety. I wanted to commit suicide. I got close to committing suicide. And then the only reason why I fell asleep just a few hours before I got to school is because I was exhausted and I cried myself to sleep. So I just would roll out of bed. I didn't have time to get ready anymore. There was no time because love, my heart hurt, So who gives a fuck when someone dies? you know, in your life. You don't give a fuck about how you look. Someone in your life just died. That hurts. That's a soul level thing. That's a heart thing. You're not going to see them ever again. And then when it comes to love, someone that you love, it didn't work out. Yeah, it was my fault too. I fucked up. I didn't have a good mentor. I didn't know about relationships. I didn't know what not to do or why not to do them or how not to do them. It's so hard. It's pressure. It's societal pressure. Look at all the pressure. You have just a plethora of options. And then if something doesn't work out, you can just swipe right, get a new option, right? It's hard. It's societal pressure. But look, I didn't care. I didn't care how I looked. And then I realized, all this to say, the sad, sad story, all this to say is that I realized I don't need to do my hair. What a waste of time. I'd rather sleep. I started going to the gym. I started working out. I'm going to sweat anyway. So I'd wake up at 5, go to the gym, work out before school, just shower and go straight to school. I didn't care anymore how I looked. And then I started to realize, oh, I could get my curls back. The reason I didn't go curly is because my hair was damaged. My hair was fried from all the dyeing. And you have to go through a transition period where you cut off your hair, where you stop dyeing it, where you just do no products at all. And it looks gross. It does. I'm not saying it doesn't. It looks gross. So braid it. I'll have another tool this week on just how to deal with that crazy ass hair. And then my makeup. I look ghostly. I look like I died. I looked like I had no color to my face. You know, just from wearing all that foundation, it just sucks everything out of you. And then because I didn't have time for makeup, because I was working out, because I was using the tools that I talked about this last week, because I was doing those subconsciously, I didn't know they were helping me, but they do. Then my skin started to get better because I started to eat better. I started to heal myself from within. Your skin is all about, this is an organ. You know about organs. If you go to McDonald's every day and I cut open your liver, your heart, your lungs, it's gonna look pretty gross compared to someone who eats healthy. Your brain, if you eat sugar, literally they've done these, I will share this on social media. Your brain is black. It turns black like tar on lungs that smoke. Okay, so just like that happens to your skin. This is the largest organ on your body. So if you're not eating the right food, then you're gonna need makeup to cover up whatever's going on. Why are you having acne? I'm gonna put money on it. It's because of whatever you're eating. Are you stressed out? I had eczema. I was eating okay, kind of, but I was so stressed. Stress could just be the only thing that's causing your wrinkles and stuff like that. I've seen it reverse. You know, juicing in the morning. Maybe just try not to have coffee anymore. Maybe you just have a juice. I can get you just as amped with some lemon and some ginger and some carrot. And so I'll give you a whole recipe too on how to juice and what to juice, where to get it if you don't have a juicer. You just want to start out. And then just healing from within. And then now all this to say is that you got to heal from within. And so last week we talked about what's your story? What happened? What are you trying to heal from? What's your story that you tell yourself for why you can't live the life you want? I got a good one for you. One of you that's watching right now. I got a good one. Why can't you be who you are? Why can't you be smart? Why can't you be kind and gentle? Why can't you be a gentleman? Only for select people? Why? Is there some trauma there? What's the story behind that? Write it down. Write it down. Is there something that you could do so that you could be exactly who you are all the time? Is it the people you're hanging around who try to say, be a man, be a man, be a man? They try to say you're a P-U-S-S-Y if you have some feelings. You're a P-U-S-S-Y if you respect a woman. Yeah, I get it. I want you to DM me, seriously. This conversation isn't over. This got to a very specific thing on one of our viewers, but just DM me, I'm calling you out. I'm here. We have been like this for a very long time. I don't know what happened, why it stopped, but this has always been on. So, Anyway, so back to this. So what's your story? Why can't you live the life of your dreams? What's holding you back? What is the limiting belief? Write your story down. We did that last week. So now this week, I want you to write down, what are the pet peeves that you have? What do you hate about society? I know, we could start with COVID right here. You could get a whole list going. What are your pet peeves? So write it down. We're coming up on our time, so this is our work that we're gonna do. This is what I'm gonna ask for you in return of my time to be here with you, is to write it down. What are your pet peeves? I'll give you time. You could literally write it right down, right now. Just think about it. And keep thinking about this. We're gonna end soon, but I want you to keep thinking throughout the whole day. That's why we're here at 8 a.m. on a Sunday, so that you have this whole time before you start your week on Monday to really think about this. You wanna think about this through the whole week. This is how you heal. You make it present and a priority in your life. You say, look, this is important. This is what I'm gonna spend my time on. When I have free time and I'm thinking, I'm gonna think about these things. You have to bring it right in front of you, so you look at it and then you heal it. That's the only way to heal. You gotta focus. And it could be fun. It doesn't have to be so crazy. So what are your pet peeves? What do you hate about society? And then what do you hate about yourself? There has to be a few things. Like me, I hate when I yell. I hate when I yell, when I lose my temper. I have to work on my patience. That's something I have to heal. You know, when I look at my son and he hands me something and I get so irritated and I just like, they call it, what do they call it? Chew him out. I chew him out. I bite his head off. And I'm like, he's 2. Tony, could you just not STFU? You know, he just wants to play. Go play with him. Don't bite his head off. So that's something I hate that I do. It's something I hate that I do. Write it down. What do you hate that you do? Do you hate how you cuss? That's a hard one because that's a lot of self-control. You have to like be aware of your thought before it becomes a thought, and then you got to say, is there another word that I can use to express this cuss word? So just write it down. You don't have to do anything about it. I just want you to write down, what are the pet peeves that you hate about society? What are the pet peeves that you hate about yourself? So now the pet peeves that you hate about society for the next weeks, I'm going to tell you, throw that list away. You don't need it. Who cares? We're working on you. I'm asking you for accountability right here. It doesn't matter what has been done to you. And now if you are in an environment, like when I was young, I couldn't move out. I was too young. I couldn't leave. I thought about running away. I saved up. I almost ran away a few times. But look, if you're in an environment right now, this is why you have professional help resources. On the last video I shared the National Suicide Hotline and the Hotline for Human Trafficking. So I get if you're in that environment right now that you cannot leave, that you cannot focus on healing, you're going through it, you're like in the middle of trauma right now, then DM me and we have a different conversation. But for those who have moved out, if you've not in that environment anymore, then this is how you're gonna heal, by taking accountability and going, look, did you know that as much as your parents effed you up, did you know that when you turn 18 and you go out into the world that you can re-parent yourself? You can re-raise yourself in the way that you wanted to be raised. If there were needs that weren't met in your story from last week, you can fulfill your needs right now. You are the adult. You can re-parent yourself. I didn't know that. I thought, born into this world, this is my story, this is what I gotta carry, I gotta be here. This is just, it is what it is, it's my life, right? I don't have any other way. No, you do. You can just re-parent yourself in the way that you weren't. Okay? So this whole list about what you hate about yourself, how about we just say, cross out the hate? Instead of what is the pet peeve that you hate you do? What's something that you just going to observe? Just look at it. Just don't condemn yourself. When we don't feel good, we don't do something. You know, when we are excited and happy and interested, that's when we make the change. So I don't want you to condemn your story. I don't want you to say, oh, you're having a pity party. Have the pity party. Have the pity party. Cry. Embrace it. I want you to go through it. Your emotions, my emotions are still present. I didn't just push it down anymore. I'm living my full self with all my shit involved, with all my trauma. That's how I can have conversations now with people who have trauma, unhealed trauma, because I carry it with me. It has expanded me. It is what's lifted me up. It's actually what I stand on today. It's my foundation. I step up higher today because I've owned it and I've loved it. And even though I didn't know what to do about my reckless behavior, I figured it out. I just said, I'm not gonna hate myself for it. I'm gonna change. I'm not gonna complain, I'm gonna change. And so how could I even judge other people if I still have things I need to work on? And so coming up on our time, so the pet peeves is what you're gonna write down. And you are not going to condemn yourself. You're not going to say, I shouldn't do this, okay? Next thing that journaling this week is a letter to yourself. A letter to yourself. Write a letter to your past self. Look at your story again, do some journaling, and then, let's see. Yeah. Cindy, you want to be in the video? Do you have something to say right now? Someone's requesting to join the live video. You can definitely join. But is it just because you want to watch? Or do you want to say something? Because then everyone will see you join. Okay, just wanted to make sure before I accept the request. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad you're here. Good morning. So just going through a little bit of the next homework over the next week. I will replay this, so if you missed it, just rewatch, and you can listen to the podcast too. It'll be on YouTube. Don't worry, I'll post everything. So getting into it. So pet peeves, what you hate about society, what you hate about yourself, cross it out. What are you going to observe about yourself? And then a letter to yourself. So I actually wrote a letter to myself, my young self. And you can do this as a type of tool for healing trauma. What do you want to say to that 8-year-old you when you were going through societal pressure? When you didn't understand your emotions, when you were confused, when you felt unloved, unheard? What do you want to say to yourself in that very moment? Coming now. Looking back. Write a letter to your past self. If you want, this isn't the exact example that I'm using, but I can just read real fast what letter I've written to myself recently. I've done this a few times. It's a very good exercise. Let's see. I'm just going to find it real quick. And then while I find it, so going into that judgment thing, how can you judge others if you have some stuff to work on and the whole judgment thing? I'm going to be giving away this free book. It's called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's one of the 4 agreement that you're going to have is just to be honest and live in truth. So I'm going to be giving this away for free this week. I will do it on Instagram if you comment on any of the videos that you want to do the free book. And actually just say good morning. Just comment good morning on any of my stuff this whole week. Just say good morning. And then I will put you into a raffle to win this free book and a $100 Amazon gift card. Yes, $100. I'm gonna just completely bait you in here. So $100, just say good morning on any of my stuff this whole week, and then on next Sunday I will reveal who gets this free book and a $100 Amazon gift card. So now back to this thing, the one that's gonna be faster. Let's see. Okay, it's called Dear Younger Self. Okay, Dear Younger Self. I'm actually going to read mental health real fast. So I did this real quick poem. Yeah, a poem on mental health. And it goes back to what we're talking about, appearance today. And it's basically like my explanation of what is mental health and how you can have mental health and what it means when you actually heal. So I'm talking about a trauma that I've actually gone through all of the stages and healed it. So this is exactly like how it will feel when you take a little part that you want to heal through this series. And then this is kind of like the end part to just kind of think about, take it in. Let's just see how you feel. Okay, so let's go. Okay, here it is. So mental health. Doing me consciously, unapologetically. I do my makeup if I want to, but I never feel forced to. I get dressed to look the part, but I never feel forced to. I speak up when I want or stay quiet in the back, but I never feel forced to. I take care of me, take time for me, to do what I love and enjoy what I do. I know my tendencies. I know my habits. I know my trauma. They are a part of me, always will be, but they don't define me. I am more than my past. I am more than my trauma. I'm not perfect, and that's why I am perfect. Because my weaknesses are my strengths. Without them, I cannot grow. Without them, I cannot flow. Without them, there is no humility, no patience, no love, no surrender. I stand here today, even though a few years ago, it didn't look that way. I love you. Namaste. Have yourself a bright day. So that's a little bit of that mental health poem. And then younger self, dear younger self. And I'm just sharing these as examples. So when you are writing and journaling this week, you can just kind of have some ideas, some sounding board. And then just to let you know that I'm not perfect, so I'm not coming on here and saying that I've got it all figured out. But it's worth it to try to figure it out. All right, so dear younger self, you were right. One day you would be happy. One day you would find love. And this is me like now talking to like my 10-year-old self. One day your dreams would come true. That feeling that kept you alive all these years, it came true. You're intuitive, you're resourceful, you're generous, you're thoughtful. Looking back now, I'm so grateful to have suffered so young because now I can enjoy the rest of my life with everything involved. Who wants to like enjoy it and then go through the suffering and then figure out, like I went through the shit early. I'm adding a little on here, but I like went through the shit early. And now it's like, I know my ugly self and I love it. And I can tame it and I can find moderation. I can find restraints. I can go, I could react, but I'm not gonna, you know? So suffered young because now I can join them. Okay, it won't be easy. So I'm talking to my 10-year-old self. It won't be easy to learn the lessons. That's for sure. It won't be easy to learn your lessons, to admit that you have pain, even though you appear to be so tough. I'm telling my younger self, embrace yourself. Embrace all that you are. Enjoy life while you're young. Be silly more often. I'm so serious. Be silly more often. Relax and rejoice. Everything will happen in time. Ooh, everything will happen in time. Time heals all. Yes, it does. All your needs will be met, and they are. I know people tell you all the time these vague, ambitious things, like everything happens in time, time heals all your needs are met. But you understand the feeling behind it more than the words. So go with your feeling, 10-year-old self. Go with your gut, live your life, and make mistakes. Fail forward. The only true failure is when you don't try and when you don't learn. That's the only true failure. When you don't try and you don't learn. So try and learn, and you will be fulfilled in this life. Give back tenfold and embrace your background persona. Don't take things personally and live by the 4 agreements sooner rather than later. I know sometimes people say, you're not alone. But as a 10-year-old, sometimes you feel like you really are. And if anything, I'm being honest right now here, if anything, there's a sort of embarrassing enjoyment that to say that I am alone. It's kind of like embarrassingly enjoying to say I am alone. So I can feel like no one helped me, that no one understood me. But looking back now, I think it's because I wanted to feel unique. I didn't feel love, so I felt like maybe me saying I was alone, maybe. I don't know. I don't know exactly why I did what I did. Looking back now, I think it's because I wanted to feel unique. In all the movies and shows growing up you're going to watch, they're going to tell you, you are unique. You're not. And it's totally okay to be average. It's totally okay. Be at peace with who you are. My experience of pain may be unique, but the feeling of pain is not. Everyone feels the same emotions at some point in their life, just different scenarios to bring it about. Follow your instinct. Some point in their lives, everyone feels the same emotions at some point. Okay, follow your instinct. Take time to rest. It's when you are your most creative. So now I'm learning about myself every day through this healing that I can tell my 10-year-old self, follow your instinct and take time to rest. I was just working. I would do sports every weekend. I didn't sleep in. I didn't have time off. Every day after school, I would go to practice. Then I'd come home. I'd have to do my homework at school while I'm in class. So because by the time I was done with practice, I'd be so tired. I just want to go home and sleep. So I told myself, follow your instinct. That could be some trauma right there. It really is. It really is to be type A, productive. And if you're not productive, you're a failure. We can talk about that later too. It's time when enjoy every moment, everything will come. So P.S., it's only lonely when you isolate yourself. This is for everyone. It's only lonely when you isolate yourself. People are waiting to be invited into your life. Take the leap. Peace, love, and joy is better shared. Yeah, I can go be a monk. I could be alone, but let me tell you one thing. Peace, love, and joy is better when it's shared. So share. Hang out with the people who love you for who you really are. Who you don't have to change for. Who make you feel safe and confident to be yourself. Wow, right? That's a letter I recently wrote to my younger self. So write a letter to your past self. Just kind of coaching yourself and telling yourself what you needed. I needed it in that moment. If someone would have wrote that for me and given it to me when I was 8, when I was crying, when I was doing all those things, who knows? Who knows? I'm not saying I needed it, but I'm not saying that I want to change it because my past is what's made me who I am today. But I'm saying that just imagine I didn't have to suffer. Pain and suffering is different. Pain is something we always feel, but suffering is optional. And the reason it's optional is about resources, which I talked about at the very beginning of this live today. Resources. If you don't have a mentor that sees you're going through something, you're not admitting it. Let me try to make you have some fun. Maybe I didn't need therapy so young, right? But maybe I just needed to go have fun. Maybe I just needed to stop doing sports for a season. And I started to do that in high school. I just stopped playing softball, something that I played since I was 8 years old, competitively. I just stopped junior, senior year. But all this to say is that if the resources weren't there for you to know, for someone to coach you and see there's something there. I had so many red flags. It's funny now, but it's kind of not funny. So many things said to everyone, there's something wrong with this one. This one there's something wrong. If I see it now, and then I'll go up to the parent, kind of talk to them, see how they're going. But something was wrong. There were so many flags, so many indicators that said, there's something wrong with that girl over there. But no one did anything. No one said anything, because then there's maybe this stigma of that's their child, let them raise it how they want to. And I'm kind of like, oh, really? No. Let's figure out how we can kind of change this behavior. How can we lift this child up? How can we help them and nurture them, which you're supposed to do as a parent? But parents are kind of stubborn, right? They don't want to change. The parents that are on here, you are awesome. The fact that you're even considering this, you're awesome. I love you. You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. It doesn't feel good sometimes. It may feel uncomfortable, but this is what's right. This is what's love. I'm not asking for anything in return. I have no ulterior motive behind me. I'm not trying to convince you of it, of like anything that's gonna hurt you. This is just love. This is pure love and community and support. And I'm just so grateful and humble that you're here because, whew, this is nice. So we went a whole hour today, and I just have so much to give you. I have so much. I just want to love you. Just let me love you. And I hope you listen to that Spotify playlist I put together, the Feel Good, Feed Thy Soul playlist. I'm going to keep adding songs. So whenever you feel down, whenever you feel lonely, whenever you feel like you're going through this thing, but maybe your partner or family doesn't support you, go listen to that. Go listen to that playlist. You know, music really helped me. That's a big thing. I'm going to do it this week. Another tool. Music really helped me heal. It was always something I went to since I was young, you know? Because if my parents were going to kind of figure it out, like I can like figure it out through listening to music and people crying about their relationships. So that's why social media is not bad. I'm not telling you like to shelter your child from it. They need to see this. They need to see this. They need to watch those movies. And the reason they need to do it is so that when you have a parent, a role model, a mentor there to go, so honey, we just watched that movie. How did you like the movie? And then they tell it. And then if they say anything like down the road, if they say anything down the road that kind of raises a thing and it's a perception where you go, that's where you interject as a parent. You go, yeah, honey, but not everyone's a bad person. Money is not bad. Money doesn't make you evil. It's all about like, you know, and then that's your moment to teach. So let them be exposed to the hate and evil of the world. Why? Why do I say let them be exposed? So that you can step in and then give them the tools for them how to navigate it. This is the resources. Give it to them. Have a constructive, maybe they're gonna change your perspective as a parent. You know, there's always this friction, right? Because traditional beliefs versus new beliefs. Just have that open communication and conversation. And then put yourself in their shoes. What did you think about when you were 7? And then that builds this bond and this connection, and they just will go to you for everything. Because I didn't go to my parents. I hid a lot of stuff from my parents. Because I didn't feel like I had that open line of communication. So all this to say, thank you for showing up on Sunday. I will list all this stuff and post it on YouTube, post it on the podcast. And yeah, so anything, just write down what you hate, pet peeves about society. Then we're going to throw that in the trash because we're talking about you this series. Write down the stuff that you hate about yourself, and you're just going to observe, cross out hate, observe. And then write a letter to your past self. What do you want to tell yourself right now? How do you feel right now? Write a letter to your 10-year-old, 15, 18, whatever part of trauma you want to fix. And not even fix, just transcend. We want to transcend our trauma. We want to use it to lift us up, right? So letter to your past self, younger self. And then comment good morning this whole week through Sunday. Comment good morning on any of the stuff. Even if it's night, say good morning, and I'll know that you want this free book, The 4 Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Great if you've read it already. Great if you have it. Read it again. Are you doing all the things? Are you doing all the agreements? Read it again. Read it again. You try to read it and it was boring and you didn't like it. Okay, that's fine. Read it again. We're going to read it. All right, so I'm going to give this free book away, and I'm going to do a free $100 Amazon gift card. Yes. Just say good morning. Comments, I love you, and light and love. Namaste. Have yourself a beautiful, bright week. Beautiful, bright Sunday. Good weather outside. So just DM me if you want to talk. If you need some books. I talked about Fatherless Daughter book last time. So just reach out. Reach out. I'm here. I love you. All right. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Love you. Look at all these beautiful comments. You guys are beautiful.